What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Saturday, June 8th. We hit some pretty bad variance there on Friday, guys. Not what we had in mind. Got off to a great start on the day. We had the Pirates plus 108. That one came through no problem. The Reds minus 106. They got the win as well, but then we ended up on the wrong end of a 3-2 game there on Cleveland. They took the loss. The Red Sox just did not show up, did not think they would be giving up 7 runs there to the worst hitting team in baseball. Then the Seattle-Kansas City under, that was a wild game. We saw Seattle score 7 runs in the first inning. I doubt they've done that a single other time this season, so that was a really weird spot. And then Toronto, they ended up losing that game to the A's in the 9th inning. So overall, 2-4 on the day. Not exactly what we were hoping for. Let's see if we can get back on track here, looking at a very solid Saturday slate. Before we get into the games, guys, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in here every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the New York Mets. Phillies come into this game fresh off of a sweep there against the Milwaukee Brewers, so they're looking very good right now. They're 44-19 on the season and pretty much looking like the best team in baseball at this point. They're handing the ball in this one to Ranger Suarez, who's now 9-1 this season with a 1.70 ERA. He finally hit that little bump in the road there against the Colorado Rockies back on the 26th, but he followed that up with a weird, very short, a weather-shortened start, if I remember correctly, there against the Cardinals, where he only went 2 innings, but didn't give up a hit over those 2 innings and had 2 strikeouts. So I think we can safely say he's very likely to be back on track for this game. And in general, guys, had to feel pretty decent here about the Phillies bullpen. I mean, not a bad bullpen at all, above average for sure, so not too worried about that. And their offense has been off the charts good this year, guys. I mean, they're 2nd in the majors in runs scored, 6th in the majors, batting over 250 as a team. They're 4th in the majors in on-base percentage. In their series against the Milwaukee Brewers, they didn't exactly look great at the plate. I mean, they scored 2, 2, and 3 runs respectively, but I think this offense is poised to have a breakout series here going up against New York Mets, who come into this game fresh off of a sweep of their own. They actually swept the Washington Nationals, which is fairly surprising to me. They're 27-35 on the season, and they're handing the ball in this game to Sean Manaea. He's 3-2 this season with a 3.63 ERA. He's coming off a pretty bad start, though. He got knocked around by the Arizona Diamondbacks his last time out. 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them were earned. He did strike out 10 in that outing, but yeah, you can't be giving up that many runs over 5 2/3. That's just not going to work. Over his last 3 games, he hasn't been sticking in the game for very long either, which is a bit of a problem, but he's looked decent, don't get me wrong. And he does have a start on his, in the last little bit here against the Phillies. Back on the 13th, he went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run while striking out 6. So that is a very solid start there for him against the Phillies. We did notice that Suarez has a pretty good start also against the Mets back on the 15th. So this is, we're looking at two pitchers that have pretty decent history against their opponent. The Mets bullpen in general, guys, has been pretty decent this season, definitely well above average, so not a bullpen that we're definitely scared of seeing them out there a lot. Their offense has come alive over the last 3 games, but in general this year has not been good. They're 16th in the majors in runs scored, so obviously that's not terrible, but this isn't an offense that I'm super scared of, even though they're swinging some relatively hot bats. I mean, 9, 6, and 8 runs respectively over their last 3. That will definitely get the job done, but going up against the Phillies and Ranger Suarez is going to be a little bit different than going up against the Washington Nationals. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Phillies at minus 155. We see the Mets at plus 140. We've got an over-under of 10 in this game, so the odds makers are definitely expecting some offense here. Looking at the Phillies, trends here, we see the Phillies are 17-10 on the road, which is great. The Phillies are also a slight under team, but we're not really interested in the over-under in this, guys. In general, I'm leaning towards the Phillies, minus 155 with Suarez on the mound. The Mets are only 13-21 at home this year. That is a pretty terrible number at home, and even though they come into this game rather hot, I think the Phillies are in a great spot to come away with a comfortable win to start off this series. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Atlanta Braves going on the road here to take on the Washington Nationals. The Braves come into this game fresh off of a loss there in Game 2. They lost 2-1, so pretty disappointing performance from them. They're 35-26 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Charlie Morton. He comes in this game 3-2 on the year with a 3.88 ERA, and he is fresh off of a dominant start there against the Oakland A's, where he went 6 innings, gave only a single hit. He did walk 5 in that outing, so obviously not great there, but he had 6 strikeouts to kind of balance that out, and only giving up 1 hit over 6 innings, nothing wrong with that. The problem for him, or the problem facing him in this game rather, is that he's going up against the Washington Nationals, a team that he had to start against back on the 27th that he would very much like to forget. He went went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 12 hits and 8 earned runs. Yeah, got absolutely slaughtered there by the Nationals. So that's a pretty big concern for me coming into this game. Obviously, in terms of their bullpen, the Atlanta Braves have not been terrible. I mean, a slightly above average, kind of around average bullpen is what I would say. And yeah, I mean, we're not terrified for them to end up with the ball in their hands, which they undoubtedly will, but we're also not going to be super stoked about it. And the Braves offense, obviously not coming off of a very good game where they only scored 1 run. They scored 5 runs in game 1 of this series, but over their last 3, they scored 0, 5, and 1 run respectively. Not exactly a team swinging the hottest bats. I mean, we've seen Ozuna do some good things this season for sure, but right now, is he really swinging the hottest bat? I don't know. This team's 11th in the majors in batting average, 18th in the majors in runs scored, so definitely have some questions here about the Braves offense going up against the Nationals, who come into this game fresh off of that 2-1 win. They're handing the ball in this game to Mackenzie Gore. He's 4-5 this season with a 3.57 ERA. He's coming off of a terrible start there against the Mets where he got absolutely slaughtered. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 earned runs. He gave a home run in that game. What he's hoping he can replicate is his start against the Braves that he had back on the 29th, where he went 5 1/3 and gave up only a single earned run, 2 runs overall, but he did strike out 10 in that outing, so a pretty solid start there, and it's a game we saw the Nationals win 7-2, so I'm sure he feels pretty good about that. How do we feel about the Nationals bullpen? I don't know, kind of middle of the road. I mean, they're about league average, so not a bullpen we love, not a bullpen we necessarily hate. This offense has not been good lately, guys. They only scored 2 runs here in game 2 of this series. They only scored 2 in game 1. In their series against the Mets, they finished things off with 1 and 3 runs respectively, so not amazing there. Just not a team that hits the ball great. I mean, they're 24th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors and on base percentage. That's not a great number. I mean, a 302 on base percentage, not going to get me too excited. And there's also really nobody on their roster that I'm scared of at the plate right now. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Braves at -135. The Nationals at +120. We see an over-under in this game of 8.5. We also see that the Braves are a decent road team, 16-14 on the road. The Nationals are pretty bad at home. They're only 11-17 at home. Both these teams have pretty significant trends to the under. Atlanta is 37-22-2 to the under. That's an MLB best number to the under. We see Washington is 33-26-4 to the under. So definitely want to give that under 8.5 a look in this game. I mean, are we a little bit worried about the fact that Charlie Morton got slaughtered by the Nationals the last time he faced them? Yeah, we definitely are a bit concerned, but surely he will not look that bad twice in a row. I mean, he's had great starts over his last 5, except for that one. So in general, I'm looking towards the under in this game. Will it end up in the pinned comment? I would say it has some sort of chance, but fairly unlikely since we have a pretty deep slate today. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Twins going on the road here to take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Twins come into this game fresh off that 3-0 loss. Thank you to the Pirates. They came through for us in that one. The Twins are now 33-30 on the season, handing the ball in this one to Simeon Woods Richardson. He's 2-0 on the year with a 3.05 ERA. He's coming off a kind of weird start there at Houston. He only made it 4 1/3 innings deep into the game, which going deep into games really is not his MO. He gave up 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs in that one. It was a start at Houston, so yeah, just not the best outing, and the guy continues to struggle to make it deep into any games, and that puts a lot of pressure on the Minnesota Twins bullpen, which isn't exactly a great one. They're clearly below average. A bullpen ERA of around 4.20 has them close to 20th in the majors, so not a bullpen you want to put a ton of pressure on, and when Simeon Woods Richardson is out there, they're likely to pitch a lot of innings. The Twins' bats have not been looking good at all lately. They've scored 0, 5, 5, 1, and 4 runs over their last few games. Getting shut out by the Pirates probably does not feel amazing, and yeah, just not a team that's hitting the ball particularly well right now or this season. I mean, they're 24th in the majors in on-base percentage and 26th in the majors, batting .229 as a team. Not a great offensive team by any stretch. Not an offense that I am very scared of. They're going to have to put up some runs here against the Pirates, who come into this game winners of 3 of their last 4. Obviously, they looked very, very good in game 1 of this series. They're only 30-33 on the season, though, so that's a bit disappointing for them. They're handing the ball in this one to Carmen Majinski. He's coming into this game with no record this season yet, but a 6.75 ERA. He's going to be making a start. He's normally a bullpen guy, so that obviously raises some red flags for us. His last time out, he looked good against the Dodgers, but only in 1 inning of work in a game that his team was losing. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Tough to know what to think of him. The Pirates bullpen in general isn't exactly one that we're super low on necessarily. I mean, I think they're basically a top 10 bullpen pretty convincingly. I mean, not a terrible bullpen ERA coming out of Pittsburgh at the moment. So I don't think we're too scared for the Pirates bullpen to have to make their way through an entire game, but obviously it's not something you're going to feel super comfortable with. This team's offense has been pretty hit or miss, no pun intended. I mean, their last game they only scored 3 runs, but it was in a win, so we'll give them some credit. They did score 7, 10, and 1 run in their series there against the Dodgers. So definitely swinging some better bats than they have been at times this season, but also I can't really expect that to continue forever. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Twins at -118, the Pirates at +100, and we've got over-unders for this game of 8.5 or 9. The Twins are 17-17 on the road. The Pirates are 15-16 at home. We see mixed trends also for the over-under in this game. Guys, in general, I'm going to go ahead and lean towards the Twins. I think their bad bullpen finds a way to get things done once Simeon Woods-Richardson comes out of the game, probably in the 4th or 5th inning. This isn't going to be a pin comment play, though. I don't have enough faith in the Twins here. The Pirates could definitely pull something out and win this game, so give me the Twins, but only as a very small lean in this game. Cruising right along here, guys, we've got the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Oakland A's. Toronto came up small for us there in Game 1 of the series, losing 2-1. They're 30-33 on the season, handing the ball in this one to Kevin Gausman. He is 4-4 this year with a 4.60 ERA, coming off of getting absolutely just trounced there by the Baltimore Orioles. In general, he's been pretty good, or had been pretty good over his 2 starts before that, then just getting shelled by the Orioles. So not a great look, but it was the Orioles, so we'll cut him a little bit of slack there, I suppose. But yeah, not exactly looking at him as killing it right now. The Toronto bullpen is also slightly below average with a bullpen ERA of 4.29, so that's fine, but not amazing. You want your bullpen to be considerably above average, and theirs is certainly not, especially when you consider how bad this team has been offensively at times. I mean, losing 2-1 has to feel pretty bad. They're 24th in the majors in runs scored. They're 20th in team batting average, batting only .234 as a squad. Like, none of these numbers really get me that excited. We do see Vladimir Guerrero Jr., at least he's figuring some things out, but overall, this offense has a long way to go. They're going to need to score some runs here against the Athletics, who come into this game winners of 2 of their last 3. I mean, they're 26-39 on the season, though, so not exactly heading anywhere positive fast. They're hitting the ball in this one to Luis Medina. He hasn't yet figured in a result this season, but he also has not given up an earned run yet this year. He's only made 1 start. It was against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave 2 hits, a single unearned run. He gave up 2 walks, but struck out 6, so a pretty positive outing for him, all things considered. I mean, he's a very young guy who's making his first start of the year. He looked good out there, no doubt about it. Will he be able to back that up, though? That leaves some question marks for me for sure. The Oakland A's bullpen has been a little bit better than you would expect. I mean, they're right around league average with a 4.19 bullpen ERA, so really nothing wrong with that, but for a team that struggles to produce offense, that can be a problem. They've scored 2-0, 2, 3, and 1 run over their last few games, guys. Not a good offense at all. They are trending downward in most of the major offensive categories. They're 28th in team batting average. They're 28th in on-base percentage, so not a lot of positives for either one of these teams offensively. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Blue Jays at -154, the A's at +136. We see an over-under in this game of 8. Toronto's only 14-17 on the road. Oakland's only 14-18 at home. We see both teams showing slight trends towards the under, so the under is a bit appealing for 2 teams that are swinging such cold bats, so I'll be trending towards the under in this game, and maybe the Oakland A's +136 has some value with Medina out there on the mound, but I think under 8 is kind of the play in this game. But in general, I'm not very interested in this game. Like, this one is not going anywhere near the pinned comment for me. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Baltimore Orioles going on the road here to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Orioles come into this game fresh off a 6-3 win there in Game 1, so they have to feel pretty good about that, getting back on track after losing 2 in a row at Toronto. Winning Game 1 at Tampa Bay probably feels pretty sweet. They're hitting the ball in this game to Kyle Brandish. He's 1-0 this season with a 3.18 ERA. He's coming off of a terrible start there, guys, against the Tampa Bay Rays, so that's not a great look. He only went 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 5 earned runs, no home runs. He struck out 6 and walked 3. Yeah, not a start that he's going to be very stoked, to replicate here. He's going up against the Tampa Bay Rays again, so will they remember that? Will they remember his stuff? Will they just be able to kill him again? That's a pretty big concern. The Orioles' bullpen in general is not a big concern, though. They're the second best in the majors with a 3.27 bullpen ERA, and this offense is fantastic. I mean, obviously scoring 6 runs in Game 1 of this series, and yeah, they're 4th in the majors, 311 runs scored this year, 10th in the majors in batting average. They're first absolute tops in the major leagues with a slugging percentage of .445. Like, this is a team that can absolutely get it done at the plate. They can just hit their way into some wins. Will they be able to hit their way into a win here against the Rays in Game 2? Tampa Bay is 31-32 on the season. I can't be stoked about losing Game 1 there. They're handing the ball in this game to Taj Bradley. He's 1-3 this season with a 5.81 ERA. He's coming off of a horrendous start against the Orioles, guys. He went 3 1/3 innings at Camden Yards, gave up 9 earned runs on 9 hits. He gave up 4 home runs in that game. Absolutely nightmare level stuff. I can't believe the guy didn't just try and quit the major leagues and leave, because holy cow, what a disaster. So both pitchers with terrible, terrible history against their opponent. Baltimore with a great bullpen. The Tampa Bay Rays bullpen in general this season, guys, hasn't been a disaster necessarily, but 19th in the majors with a 4.33 bullpen ERA is not great. Definitely nowhere near the level of Baltimore, and the Tampa Bay Rays offense is also nowhere near the level of Baltimore, guys. They're 23rd in the majors in runs scored, 27th in the majors in slugging percentage, so not a good power team. Over the last few games, they've looked decent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, 3, 5, 9, and 4 runs respectively, but yeah, I don't know, guys. Not feeling super hot about the Tampa Bay Rays chances in this game. Looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we somehow see an over-under in this game of 8. We see that Baltimore is an MLB best team to the over. All of these are very intriguing. We also see Tampa Bay as a slight over team. They're 33, 29, and 1 to the over. So, guys, I think Baltimore probably wins this game. I don't hate Baltimore minus 148, but I also like the over a lot in this spot. I think we're going to see plenty of offense in this game. I'm shocked to not see an over-under number of closer to 9. Yeah, give me the over in this game. Hope we're not getting burned here, and go ahead and give me the Baltimore Orioles minus 148. Also, the over is definitely going in the pinned comment. There's some chance Baltimore ends up in there as well. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Boston Red Sox going on the road here to take on the Chicago White Sox. Boston, man, they looked terrible there in Game 2 of this series, losing 7-2. That's pretty embarrassing. We saw Tyler O'Neill go out of the game with right knee discomfort, so I think there's a very, very good chance we do not see him here in Game 3 of this series. The Red Sox are 32-32 on the year, handing the ball to Brian Bello, who's 6-2 this season with a 4.36 ERA, coming off a not great start there against the Detroit Tigers, guys. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave 8 hits, 4 earned runs. I guess not a disaster necessarily, but we did see the Red Sox lose that game 8-4. Boston is 3-2 over his last 5 starts, so I mean, that's not terrible, but also not amazing. You would really be thinking he would be wanting to use a start here against the White Sox as kind of a get right spot after not a great appearance his last time out. Boston's bullpen in general, guys, has not had a great time this season. They've dealt with a ton of injuries. They're around 20th in the majors in bullpen ERA, so that's not great. Obviously, they did not hit the ball well here in Game 2 of this series. Hit the ball great in Game 1. They scored 14 runs in Game 1. So they're not swinging the coldest bats out there necessarily, but man, you got to be hoping to score more than 2 runs against the White Sox, even if you're going up against Crochet. This team, the Red Sox, man, they're 8th in the majors in batting average, 7th in the majors in on-base percentage, 5th in slugging percentage. This just does not, you watch the game, it just doesn't feel like a top 5 offense to me. I don't know how to explain it. All the statistics would indicate they are a top 10 offense, just does not feel like it to me. They don't feel consistent to me, so we'll see what they can do here in Game 3 of the series against the White Sox, who come into this game fresh off that win that snapped a very extended losing streak. They're 16-48 on the season now, handing the ball in this game to Nick Nastrini, who's having a absolute nightmare season. He's 0-5 with a 9.74 ERA. He's coming off of a 4-inning appearance there against the Milwaukee Brewers. He was in Milwaukee. He went 4 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, a home run. He walked 3 and struck out 1. Bro is just not having a good time this season. Like, no way around it. Straight up not having a good time out there. Cannot be enjoying his current life experience. The White Sox are also a terrible bullpen team, a 3.91 bullpen ERA. So all of that adding up to nothing too good for the White Sox. They're also the worst offense in baseball. They did just score 7 runs, so congratulations on that, but I do not see that happening again in this game. They are 30th in the majors in runs scored, dead last in runs, batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. Like, terrible, terrible offense. Nobody good on that offense. Not a lot to say about that. Not going to waste a ton of time talking about that. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Red Sox at minus 210, the White Sox at plus 180. If you wanted to be very brave here and take the Red Sox minus 1.5, you can get them at minus 140. If you're taking minus 2.5, you can get them at minus 110. I don't think we're too interested in minus 2.5 here, guys, but we'll definitely be considering that minus 1.5 in a bounce back spot for Boston. The White Sox are a terrible team. They're only 11-22 at home. Boston is 18-14 on the road, which isn't that bad. And yeah, I think Brian Bello's in for a good outing. So go ahead and give me the Red Sox minus 1.5 with a good chance to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Chicago Cubs going on the road here to take on the Cincinnati Reds. We saw the Cubs take that 3-2 loss in Game 2 of this series, so they can't be too happy about that. They're down to 31-33 on the season. They're handing the ball in this game to Ben Brown, who's 1-2 on the year with a 3.33 ERA. He's coming off of a bad start there against the Cincinnati Reds, and guess who he's facing in this one? It's the Cincinnati Reds again. He went 5 innings, gave 6 hits, 5 earned runs, gave up a home run in that game, and that was at Wrigley Field. This one is at the Great American Ballpark. The Chicago Cubs bullpen in general this season, guys, isn't exactly a great one. They are currently sitting at around 11th or 12th in the majors with a bullpen ERA of about 4, so that's not not incredibly bad, but it's also not great. Like, you're not stoked to hand the ball to the Chicago Cubs bullpen right now, and their offense has been even worse. They've scored a total of 6 runs so far in this series at Cincinnati, not hitting the ball particularly well. They're down to 23rd in the majors in slugging percentage, 27th in the majors, batting .227 as a team. Just not very good offensive numbers from this team up and down the roster. Nobody coming up to the plate is going to particularly scare the opposing team. Like, just not a lot of positives for Chicago right now, and they're going up against Cincinnati Reds team that's playing some of their best ball this season. They've won their last 6 games in a row. They won 3-2 there in game 2. They're handing the ball in this game to Andrew Abbott, who's 4-5 on the season with a 3.39 ERA. He's coming off of a serviceable start there at Colorado. He went 6 innings, gave 7 hits and 3 earned runs. Obviously not cartoonishly good numbers, but when you're pitching at Coors Field, that will definitely work. That was a bounce back performance after having a hard time against the Cardinals, but he looked very, very good at home against San Diego back on the 21st. He looked very good back on the 15th at Arizona. So in general, I think we can feel pretty decent about Andrew Abbott out there on the mound. And the Cincinnati Reds bullpen overall, guys, hasn't been that much different than the Cubs. They're sporting a 3.90 bullpen ERA, so nothing too wrong with that. And they obviously have looked very good so far in this series, so can feel decent about that. Can also feel decent about the Reds bats. I mean, they only scored 3 games here in game 2, but overall, definitely trending in a positive direction, guys. This team is up to 11th in the majors in runs scored. They're 25th in batting average, which is a number that's definitely up there. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel in team batting average, and that's definitely getting better. Their league average exactly with a .312 team on base percentage, so definitely an offense that's pointed in the right direction. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Cubs at +100, the Reds at -116. We've got an over-under of 9 in this game. Not interested in the over-under, guys, but we're definitely interested in the Cincinnati Reds again. I think Andrew Abbott is a very solid starter. I think he's in for a good outing here against the struggling Cubs. Chicago's only 13-20 on the road. That's pretty concerning. Cincinnati's around a 500 team at home, so we'll give them some credit for that, and they're pointed in the right direction. All the momentum is on the Cincinnati Reds side, so give me the Reds -116 again in this one. I think they come through for us once again. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Milwaukee Brewers going on the road here to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Brewers come to this game fresh off of a 10-0 win there in game 1 of this series, so that had to feel pretty great. They're 37-26 on the season, cruising along there in the top spot in the NL Central. They're hitting the ball in this game to Freddie Peralta. He's 4-3 on the year with a 3.74 ERA. He's coming off of a kind of decent, I guess, start against the Chicago White Sox. I mean, if you're giving up 3 earned runs and a home run to the White Sox, that's not exactly an amazing look. And he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 4 starts, so that's also not great. We also see that the Brewers are only 2-3 over his last 5 starts, so Peralta just not looking quite as good as he looked here in the early goings this season. The Brewers bullpen is very, very good still, though, a 3.69 bullpen ERA. That has him solidly in the top 10 in the majors, so nothing wrong with that. Obviously, they're swinging some pretty hot bats all of a sudden after being absolutely just like destroyed there. No hitting at all in that 3-game series where they got swept in Philly, but yeah, Detroit seems much friendlier, 10-0 in game 1, so they're hoping they can keep the bats rolling here. I mean, this has been a great offensive team all season long, easily top 10, more like top 5 at the plate, so they're hoping they can put up some numbers here against the Tigers, who are now 31-32 on the season. They've lost 2 in a row now, and they've been giving up a lot of runs. They've given up 19 runs over their last 2 games, so that's definitely a concern. They're handing the ball in this one to Casey Mize. He's 1-3 this season with a 4.70 ERA, coming off of a not great start there at Boston. I mean, he only lasted 4 innings in that game, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 runs overall. He walked 4 in that game, which is another concern. He didn't give up a home run, which is a departure from the 4 games before that where he gave up at least 1 home run. So yeah, just not feeling great about Mize. He's been giving up a ton of hits over his last 3 outings. He only lasted an inning and 2/3 against the Royals. He's been having a pretty hard time, and yeah, it's not exactly a fantastic bullpen situation there for the Tigers either. They're 28th in the majors with a 4.14 bullpen ERA. So yeah, just not looking great in the bullpen, not looking great in the pitching staff overall for the Tigers in this game. So they're going to have to rely on their bats, which has also been a problem. I mean, they're 19th in the majors in runs scored, 19th in the majors in slugging percentage also, but they are near the bottom of the league with a .297 on base percentage, and they're only hitting .231 as a team. Not a lot of sluggers they're running up there, not a lot of positive things to say about this offense right now. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Brewers at -165, the Tigers at +144. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. Milwaukee is decent on the road. They're 19-16 on the road, which obviously isn't like an incredible number or anything like that, but it's for sure respectable. The Tigers are only 14-16 at home. Guys, I'm definitely leaning towards the Brewers minus 165 in this one. I think this is a good spot for Freddie Peralta to have a good start. I think this is another good spot for the Brewers to pile up some offense against Casey Mize, who has been having a straight up bad time out there recently. So definitely give me the Brewers minus 165 in this game. I don't think I personally am going to get greedy and go after the minus 1.5, but I wouldn't blame anyone that did. Next up, guys, we have two teams that played one of the most unexpected games of the Major League Baseball season for me so far. We've got the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Kansas City Royals. We had the under in that game, and we saw 7 runs scored in the first inning by the Mariners. We saw a grand total of 19 runs in that game from the Mariners. Like, the Mariners are one of the worst offensive teams in the majors, and the Royals are one of, like, they've had their very good moments offensively, but they've been a good under team all season. Like, it was just a wild game. We're kind of expecting things to get back to normal in this one. The Mariners come into this game 36-29 on the season, handing the ball to Luis Castillo. He is 5-6 on the year with a 2.99 ERA, coming off of a dazzling start there against the Angels. He went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs. He struck out 6 and walked 3. He looked just lights out in that game, and he's been pretty much lights out over his last 5 starts, guys, and that includes outings against Houston, the Yankees, and the Baltimore Orioles. So he is looking just very good out there. The Seattle bullpen in general this season, guys, has also been very good. They're for sure top 5 in the majors. Definitely a great bullpen. The problem for this team all season long has been producing offense, which they put up 9 runs and lost in game 1 of this series, which is absolutely crazy stuff. I would assume they probably haven't put up 9 runs and lost in a different game this season. We see they're 26th in the majors in runs scored, 25th in slugging percentage. They're only batting .220 as a team, which is second to last in the majors. So definitely lots of question marks here for me about this offense. They're going to need to score some runs going up against the Royals, who managed to score 10 runs, in game 1 of this series. They're 38-26 on the year. They've now won 2 in a row and 3 of 4 overall. They're handing the ball in this game to Alec Marsh. He's 4-3 this season with a 3.76 ERA, coming off back-to-back pretty bad outings, guys. I mean, against the San Diego Padres, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Against the Twins, that one was in Minnesota, but still he gave up 5 runs, 2 home runs in 7 innings of work. So prior to that, he's looked very good. He has a good start, not a dominant start, though, against Seattle back on the 15th, where he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 2 runs. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. Have some questions here for sure about Alec Marsh. In terms of their bullpen, though, not a lot of questions for me about the Royals, guys. Another top 5 bullpen, so a very good feeling when you're handing the ball to the bullpen and you know they can just take care of business. The Royals offense obviously came alive for 10 runs there in game 1 of the series. Will they be able to continue doing that? Seems like kind of a big ask to me. I mean, they're 6th in the majors in runs scored, 7th in the majors, batting over .250 as a team. Like, this is a very good offensive team. We see Bobby Witt Jr. absolutely killing it right now, so definitely give them some credit here, but will they be able to replicate such a crazy performance here going up against some premium pitching? We'll just have to see. In this game, guys, we see the Mariners at minus 138, the Royals at plus 120, and an over-under in this game of 8.5. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to go with this one, guys, but I think there's some value in the under in this game. I don't see either team having nearly as crazy offensive numbers in this one. I mean, yeah, there's just very little chance to me to see the bats go that nuts again. I also think there's some value here on the Mariners minus 138, although they're not a very good road team and the Royals are a great home team, so maybe not that. Maybe you stay away from that one, but I'm definitely leaning towards the under once again in this game. Like I said, I don't blame you for not liking it. If you want to stay away from this one, for sure do, but Seattle is 38-24-3 to the under this season, and the Royals are 34-28-2 to the under, so give me under 8.5 as a small lean in this game, but I don't think I'll probably put it in the pinned comment. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we got the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. We saw the Rockies take the 8-5 loss there in game 2 of this series. They're 22-41 on the year, so yeah, not exactly having a great time. They're handing the ball in this one to Ryan Feltner. He's 1-5 this season with a 6.22 ERA, so he is also not having a great time. He got shelled his last time out by the Cincinnati Reds. He gave up 10 hits and 8 earned runs over 4 1/3. It's his second straight start getting absolutely shelled, guys. And I mean, he's not going up against the greatest offense in the majors today, but yeah, I don't know. Not a lot of positive things for me to say about Feltner. The Colorado bullpen also, who is definitely going to see some action today, is sporting a 4.31 ERA. So once again, not a very exciting number. This team has been cobbling together some offense, so we'll give them credit for that. But 5 runs, 3 runs, 7 runs, and again, they lost 7-12. Like, this isn't a team that's looked very good even at the plate recently. I mean, decent team batting average, I suppose, but they're 21st in the majors in runs scored, 18th in the majors in slugging percentage. We see Bryant on the IL. Like, this just not a team that's having a very good time at the plate right now, or just really in general this season. And they're going to have to figure something out here going up against the Cardinals, who come into this game winners of 2 of their last 3. They're only 30-32 on the season, which has them close to the cellar there of the NL Central, which is suddenly getting much more competitive. But they're handing the ball in this game to Kyle Gibson. He's 4-2 this year with a 3.69 ERA. He's coming off a mediocre start there against the Astros, where he went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs on 5 hits. He gave up a home run in that game. He walked 3 and struck out 8. Walking 3 is a little bit out of character for him, but I guess not totally. Yeah, I don't know. We've seen the Cardinals win 3 out of his last 5 starts. They lost his last start there against Houston, but they won the start before that against the Reds. He had a decent but weird start against the Baltimore Orioles. Like, he's been a little inconsistent, but not bad overall. Like, Kyle Gibson, definitely an above average, major league starter. And looking at the Cardinals bullpen, it's definitely a bullpen that could use a little bit of work. I mean, they're 13th in the majors right now with a bullpen ERA of over 4, so that's not, not exactly ideal. This offense can come alive weirdly, it feels like. I mean, they've scored 8, 3, 4, 5, and 4 runs over their last few games, so not amazing, not as bad as they looked at times this season. I mean, this was a team that looked like it might be one of the worst offenses in the MLB there for a minute. I mean, we saw Arenado and Goldschmidt both get off to pretty terrible starts. We're seeing Gorman and Wynn kind of carry the load right now. I mean, how much faith do we have in that to just continue indefinitely? I don't really know, guys. It's kind of hard to say. They did hit the ball well there in game 2, and they're going up against a guy that's been having a ton of trouble lately. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Rockies at plus 160, the Cardinals at minus 184, and we see an over-under in this game of 8.5. The Cardinals are 13-13 at home. Colorado is an abysmal 9-23 on the road, guys. To come up with a decent number for this one, you kind of have to take the Cardinals minus 1.5, and if you do that, you can get them at plus 115, which is fairly appealing. I do have my reservations about that, though, and taking the minus 184 isn't super appealing. So, guys, in general, this is kind of going to be a stay-away spot for me. If you wanted to take the Cardinals minus 1.5 or minus 184, I don't think it's a terrible spot. I think they're very, very likely to win this game. I just don't trust their bullpen or Kyle Gibson enough to put them down as a for sure win in this spot at these kind of prices. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Cleveland Guardians going on the road here to take on the Miami Marlins. Cleveland comes into this game fresh off of a 3-2 loss. Yeah, pretty disappointing stuff there from Cleveland. They're 40-22 on the season now. They're hitting the ball in this one to Ben Lively. He's 5-2 on the year with a 2.84 ERA, so he's been looking pretty good. His last start against the Washington Nationals, he gave up only 2 earned runs on 5 2/3 innings. He hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs in any of his last 3 starts against Washington, the Angels, and the Mets. He did have a little bit of trouble there with the Texas Rangers back on the 14th, but we've also seen Cleveland go 4-1 over his last 5 starts, so they've been looking pretty good with him out there on the mound. In terms of their bullpen situation, Cleveland's just right there around the top 5 with a 3.65 bullpen ERA, so bullpen not looking bad at all. The question for them right now is, can they produce some offense? They've been having a little bit of trouble. This team is still 5th in the majors in runs scored, guys, so not too much trouble there, but they're 16th in batting average, 10th in on-base percentage. Jose Ramirez has kind of been having to carry the load for them, and yeah, I mean, it seems like he's the guy that can do it for sure. We're kind of waiting for Quan to kind of get back into a groove after missing a deal of time there with his whole hamstring situation. But I think we can expect good things from this offense in general in this specific matchup, going up against the Miami Marlins, who come into this game fresh off of a 3-2 win. They're 22-41 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Rodri Munoz. He comes into this one yet to figure in a result with a 5.17 ERA. His last time pitching in the big leagues was back on the 6th of last month, where he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 6 earned runs to the Dodgers. He did have a decent start earlier in that, in that stint with the big league club, where he had a good outing against the Colorado Rockies. Had a decent start there against the Cubs, also very early in the year. So I don't know. He's shown decent stuff, but do we really feel good about him going up against the Guardians in this one? I don't know, guys. It seems like kind of a big ask. In general, the Miami Marlins bullpen hasn't been as bad as you would expect, but also has not been amazing, and their offense has been very, very mediocre, guys. I mean, they scored 3, 3, 5, 0, and 0 runs over their last few games. They're 29th in the majors in runs scored. They are 17th in batting average, 29th in on-base percentage. Just not a good team, just not a good offense. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see Cleveland minus 156 with Ben Lively on the mound. That seems a little bit cheap to me. The Marlins at plus 132. See an over-under in this game of 8.5. Cleveland is 19-14 on the road, which will definitely work. Miami is 12-23 at home. that's pretty bad. Guys, we are sliding with the Cleveland Guardians in this one. I think they bounce back and get a win here. I think we see some more offense here. I don't think we'll see Munoz have a great time on the mound in this one, so give me the Guardians minus 156. I think this is a very solid spot with Ben Lively on the mound. Next on the docket, guys, we got one of the biggest series going on in baseball right now, or actually not one of, definitely the biggest series going on in baseball right now. We got the Dodgers going on the road to take on the Yankees. We saw the Dodgers get the 2-1 win in game 1 there, so they'll definitely take that. They're up to 40-25 in the season, handing the ball in this game to Gavin Stone. He's sporting a 2.90 ERA with a 6-2 record, and he's coming off of a very good start there against the Colorado Rockies. He actually hasn't allowed a run over his last 2 starts. They were starts against the Rockies and the Mets, so let's not go too crazy here, but he's looked excellent in 4 of his last 5 starts, and that bad start there was against Arizona where he gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs over 6 innings, so not a disaster start necessarily, but obviously some room for improvement there. The Dodgers bullpen, as we all know, has been pretty good this season overall, clearly a top 10 bullpen, and their offense, while it's had its ups and downs, especially lately, has been fantastic. I mean, they're 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 2nd in the majors batting nearly 260 as an entire team. So there's nothing wrong with that. Getting on base at a 335 clip, all of these are very, very positive signs here for the Dodgers. They're going to need to score some runs going up against the Yankees probably, who come into this game sitting at 45-20 after that loss. That was a loss that snapped a long winning streak there. They just got very good news there on Juan Soto. I don't necessarily think he's going to be back for this game, but he might be back in this series. I mean, he was out of the lineup there Friday for sure. He had imaging on his elbow. It says it was just forearm inflammation, so could be available this weekend. I kind of tend to doubt that he'll actually play in this game, which is for sure something to take into consideration. The Yankees are handing the ball in this one to Nestor Cortez. He's 3-4 in the season with a 3.46 ERA coming off of a kind of mediocre start there against the San Francisco Giants, guys. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 3 earned runs. He gave 2 home runs, not a great start there at San Francisco. In his last 2 home starts, he's looked dominant, but those were starts against the Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox, so got to take those with a grain of salt for sure. The Yankees bullpen has for sure been the best bullpen in major leagues this year. No question about that. It's been fantastic. So if you have to get Cortez out of this game early, there's no problem with that. The bullpen should just be able to comfortably pick up the slack there. Looking at their offense, it's been fantastic, but obviously missing Juan Soto definitely sucks, and I do think they'll be missing him for this game, but you've got Judge, you've got Stanton, you've got all kinds of other options for this offense to put up some numbers. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Dodgers at plus 105, the Yankees at minus 120. We see an over-under of 9 in this game. The Dodgers are 18-13 on the road. The Yankees are obviously dominant at home. Guys, this is kind of a weird spot. I'm leaning towards the Dodgers plus 105 here in game 2. It seems a little bit sketch to take them to win 2 games here with how they've looked generally, but with Gavin Stone out there, I think they're in a pretty good spot. Cortez has not looked great lately, so it's just a slight lean towards the Dodgers for me. In general, I'm going to be probably staying away from this game. I also don't hate the under 9 in this one, but not enough to put anything from this game in the pinned comment. So it's exciting games to watch for sure. We'll just see what ends up panning out here. Next on the docket here, guys, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Diamondbacks come into this game fresh off of a 10-3 loss in Game 2 of this series. They're down to 30-24 in the year, handing the ball in this game to Ryan Nelson. He's 3-4 this season with a 5.44 ERA, coming off of a very good start there against the San Francisco Giants. He went 7 2/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, only 2 earned runs. He did give up a home run in that start, but other than that, he looked pretty good. The Diamondbacks bullpen hasn't exactly been a great one this year, guys. I mean, a 4.40 bullpen ERA is not what you're after. This offense has really had to carry the load, and they've been up to it at times. There's been long, extended spurts where this has looked like a top 10 MLB offense, but right now, are they looking like that? I mean, they scored 3, 4, 3, and 8 runs over the last few games. That's fine, but not amazing. So not exactly swinging the hottest bats coming into this game in San Diego. The Padres come into this game. Man, this team has been having a rough time. They're 33-34 in the season. They're handing the ball in this one to Matt Waldron. He's 3-5 this season with a 3.98 ERA, fresh off of I would say a 5th very good start in a row, guys. In starts against the Angels, Marlins, Reds, Braves, and Dodgers. He's looked very, very good in all of them. We see that the Padres have only managed to win 3 out of 5 of those games, but man, he's put him in a position to win in every single one. The Padres bullpen has been a significant part of their woes this season. I mean, a 3.93 bullpen ERA is definitely not something to write home about. The offense has also been a problem. It's just been wildly inconsistent. I mean, 10th in runs scored, 1st in team batting average. You guys got to put up some more runs with that kind of batting average. They're 5th in on base percentage. This should be an elite offense. And they're coming off a game where they scored 10 runs. So definitely a lot of positives to look at in that one. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Diamondbacks at plus 125, the Padres at minus 134. We've got an over-under of 8 in this game. We see the Padres are only 13 and 19 at home. I think that's just kind of some bad luck. I don't think they're actually a terrible home team. Arizona's only 15 and 17 on the road. They're also not handing the ball to a very good starter, and we've seen Waldron be lights out here lately, so go ahead and give me the Padres at home in this game. I know it's a scary spot anytime you're taking the Padres, but I think minus 134 is way too cheap. I think they should be more like minus 160 for this game. So give me the Padres with some solid value showing in this spot. Last but not least, guys, we got the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. The Astros come to this game fresh off of a 7-1 win there in Game 1 of this series. They're handing the ball in this one to Hunter Brown. He's 1-5 this year with a 6.18 ERA, but he's looked very solid over his last, we'll say 2 out of his last 3 starts at least. I mean, his last time out against the Twins, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs on 5 hits. He gave up 2 home runs, so you take out one of those mistakes, and it's a very, very good outing. But over his last 3, he's definitely looked good, no doubt about it. And one of those was a start against the Angels where he went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, and 2 earned runs. He struck out 3 and walked 3, so definitely did not look bad in that one. Can't feel too bad about his chances going up against the Angels again. The Houston bullpen this season in general has been for sure below average. I mean, a 4.75 bullpen ERA is not great. This offense feels like it should be a little bit better than it is, but I mean, they've scored 7, 2, 8, 7, and 3 runs over their last few games, so nothing wrong with that. They're up to 12th in the majors in runs scored, or maybe I should say down to 12th, but they're 3rd in batting average and 6th in on-base percentage. Like, this is a team that can definitely put up some runs. They're going up against an Angels squad who's 24 and 39 on the year, fresh off of that loss. They did sweep the San Diego Padres, but not off to a good start in this series. They're handing the ball to their ace, to Tyler Anderson. He's 5-5 this year with a 2.37 ERA. He's coming off of a dominant start there against the San Diego Padres. He's really looked dominant over his last 4 starts in a row, guys. He's given up exactly 1 earned run over his last 4 in each of his last 4 starts. Like, just dominant stuff. And that includes a start against the Yankees and a start against the Houston Astros. So, yeah, he's just looking great right now. The Angels bullpen, on the other hand, is definitely not a great bullpen. I mean, yeah, a 4.49 bullpen ERA, not great at all. Looking at the Angels offense, coming off of a 1-run game, doesn't feel too good. Before that, scored 2, 4, and 2 runs there against the Padres. Not a good offensive team right now at all. And looking at the numbers of this game, guys, we see the Astros minus 152, the Angels at plus 136. We see an over-under of 8.5. I'm definitely trending towards the under in this game. Also, under first 5 could be very, very good, considering the fact we've got 2 good starters out there. But yeah, guys, this one not going in the pinned comment for me. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.